Hi guys, hope all is well. I'm just going to do a video about what I'm looking for so far this week. I know there's been a couple national holidays in America yesterday and today, but there's still been actually some movement. So I'm just going to kind of break down what I'm looking at, and also some trades from last week also. So let's firstly check out the dollar. So dollar, we've been almost like on a little bit of a run so far. I did want to see 12,700 get met. We still haven't had that yet, which is fine. Doesn't mean we still can't. I've got a few levels which I am waiting to see if price is actually going to come in and test. Even though we haven't hit this level, we have actually been respecting lower time frame accumulations. So you can see this is where it actually all started raid. Then we had that shift, pullback, tested the zone which created that zone, and then we continued higher. Again, following the same thing, shift, looking for the zone that caused that shift. Excuse me, is this accumulation down here. And then we can see we've tested it, and now we're actually just kind of pushing a bit higher. Now, I do expect a couple more levels a little bit higher up. Eyeing up this tiny 4-hourly zone in here. We did come in and test a lot of the things in here. You can see we had raid, final raid, break a structure, looking for the zone that caused that. There you go. We have that test again, break a structure. We never actually came up and fulfilled this move in here. So I do want to see if price is going to come into that. Just because I'm expecting price to come into it doesn't mean I'm expecting it to just have a massive die. We could even just break through it, but kind of my first zone that I'm going to be looking for is around 12,950. So far though, on the hourly, you can see we have our high, a high low, high low, high. So now really and truly, I'm just waiting for this high low to potentially get met, and then we can potentially have a look at another run. Now, yes, people, we do have shifts in momentum here, but I'm not really classing this as my major breaker structure because you can see the actual trend is like this. This is just a shift, and this is just a leg. This is what I believe is just to be a correction to then go higher. So when you are doing your analysis, always make sure you are actually really looking for your correct structure. That's really going to be the best thing to be going off. So far though, once we did have this shift though, when you do have shifts like this, doesn't mean that you can't use them to trade back down into a high time frame POI. It's almost like a bit of a counter trend. So we had the shift here, pull back into the 50%. Personally, I don't trade the US dollar. I just have it as a confluence. But what you can see, we had that shift, pull back up into the 50, and we are actually kind of just coming back down lower. We do have this yellow area, which is our imbalance, which price did just wick, and then we came back up. But I'm now potentially seeing this as just a run on this wick, and then we could come back down lower. Now, we have this really nice accumulation here. So what I would potentially like to see is a move back down like this, and then we just take it higher. I want to see this last hourly move actually get tested. If we do then break this is going to be our shift, and then we're just going to be looking for a pullback into the zone that caused that, and then potentially down moves and see what happens around these areas, or if we're just going to really sweep it. But again, we will get to that bridge when we crossed it. I'm not going to anticipate on a break of structure. I'm just going to follow what it is saying. So I am expecting shorts back down into the zone to see some potential move, at least back up to this New York high. I do want to see if we can take out this session high. So that's dollar. NAS, nothing. Honestly, I've got two zones that I'm kind of looking at just for maybe potential pullbacks into these zones and go higher, maybe down into here. I was looking for this zone off here when we start to push higher. We didn't get it. That's fine. Check out the daily quick. Daily, I do want to see if we can just run out these equal highs, still have this high intact. So maybe definitely pull back into some daily imbalance, and then maybe have a little bit more of a run. But again, so far I'm sitting my hands on that. There's nothing too juicy. Again, US 30, nothing happening. Obviously, we've had holiday the past couple of days. So there's not really a massive amount of movement on these pairs specifically. So again, I'm really just going to be waiting to see what does happen with the indexes. Euro pound. So Euro pound, I actually did catch a really nice short off of this zone. We had our zone in and off here. I was looking for a short off of this 15-minute zone. Really nice. So let's have a look what we had. We had On the hourly, or technically on the weekly, we did actually come in and test, excuse me, some weekly supply, which I was looking at. So we came in and we tested this weekly supply, really, really nice. Still dropping it down, it was on the hourly then. As soon as we'd come into here, we then actually started shifting down a little bit lower. But I did want to see if we were actually going to get some sort of pullbacks, because the market closed here. We came into the open of the week, and then we kind of just crashed down a little bit more. So I did want to see if we were going to get some shorts going in for the rest of the week. Usually, if you do have a little bit of a bullish beginning of the week, I do like to sometimes see a little bit more of a bearish going to the end of the week. Doesn't always happen, but it has happened on a number of occasions for me. So far though, we had this hourly move. This literally filled this slightly, and then we had this little area that got filled and tested with this. Soon as we had that fill and test, I was really just looking for some potential shorts. So we did actually run down. We swept this Asian low. But what was really kind of a confluence for me is how this was quite heavy short. This was very much just like consolidating. And I said, okay, cool. I'm going to just use a lower risk on this trade. Stops above the high. And I'm going to be targeting my first zone, because I had two POIs I was looking at for potentially going up longer, either here or here. If we do go back, I am actually waiting for price to actually come lower down and take out a lot of these. Now, what I'm really waiting for and what I have been looking at is, obviously we've had this bullish structure so far. So until this low is actually broken, I'm still kind of gonna just go with this bullish structure, just because order flow at the moment is a little bit bullish. I'm not going to be long in it too long. What I do want to be waiting for is just to see if we do get a little bit of a short move back up into this 4 hourly, and then we have that short move back down into our weekly POI or our daily POI, which is going to be our weekly POI, which is going to be this kind of first area where price sold to buy, and then we actually broke structure. So we came pretty close to it, but we just didn't come as close, or we didn't come into it. So for me, I'm actually expecting price to come in a little bit deeper. We did have all of the highs going in from yesterday, and then we had Asian, London, and then we just crashed down into today. Now, I can imagine there's still going to be a lot of liquidity resting above all of these highs. So again, what I do want to see is going into tomorrow, if we do have kind of like that sharp move back up, if we come into this zone, and then maybe Thursday, Friday, we have a little bit more of a short move. That is what I'd like to see. Doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. 0.5% risk on this trade. So if price does actually come back down to here, that's fine. I will just wait for the reaccumulations to come back up for the potential long. But so far, this trade is actually activated. I do like to just have my entries a little bit higher, just because of the spreads and things like that. Even though I was looking for the hourly of this imbalance, I do actually know that we could run a little bit deeper, even to potentially some of these wicks in here. So potentially could get a little bit further downside movement before actually pushing higher. Like I said, equally, if we do just crash from here, then I was kind of expecting the shorts anyway, and my high time frame bias is short anyway. So let's wait and see. One thing I am really looking for in this 4 hourly zone is, even if I'm going to be looking to short from here, if price just pulls up, I'm going to be looking for the shorts. If we do obviously break low, I'm still going to be looking for the pullback and then the shorts. This 4 hourly POI is looking really, really nice. Scaling it down, we do have now this 30-minute POI, which is going to be nice to see, which actually does line exactly straight up with my 4-hour POI that I'm actually looking for. So I do want to definitely see if we could get a run just into this zone and then actually have a little bit of a short move. What I am going to be doing, I'm probably going to swing. If I can get in, if we do have that run back, I'm going to look to potentially just swing it. And shorts running all the way back down into 850, 100 psych level, in and around that zone, or potentially even into 5,000 major half point. If you guys know about quarters theory, then you know. So I am potentially maybe looking for shorts back down into 18,500. Let's just make that 18,500. Let's make this thicker, make this gold. Cool. So that is our motive for shorts. I don't want to see price have a big run. Where are we? I do want to see price have a run, take out all of these highs to then buy to sell. So what is potentially going to be is on maybe a daily time frame or a weekly time frame, we're just going to have like a big sell to buy from this zone. And then again, obviously high time frame. If we do had to break this lower, then we can look for a pullback and then actually take it a little bit shorter. But so far we do, and we have kind of just shifted slightly the intraday counter trend. So I am just going to follow with that. But like I said, with the understanding that we are high time frame bearish. So if we do break below, I am happy with that. I'm happy with the risk. And yeah. So next one is AU. AU super clean trade on here. It was off this little guy in here. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, probably could have held this trade a lot more higher. But again, it is what it is. I'm not really gonna look for everything too much. So what did we have? We had daily on a high time frame. We had pushed, well, we had major shift lower, and I'm still waiting for the 6,530 level to potentially get tested. Not saying that we can't have a bit more of a pullback. We could even run out this high, which is completely fine. Last week's trade really, really clean off a 30-minute time frame. We had price shift out of all of this zone in here, and we ran the lows, and then we tested some small Asian demand that was creating here. Going to New York, we ran, and then we kind of just trickled back down, not really doing too much. And then I had the idea that if price is already kind of giving us some bullish intent, and we did react from the Asian session, I am going to look for potential Asian session buys. So where are my targets on this? My target for this was this imbalance closure in here, just off that Asian session. I've noticed with obviously Australia trades a lot is in the Asian session for us and the UK. And this pair does move quite a lot during the Asian session, which is really, really nice to see. So before I headed to bed, I had our set buy limits set. Price woke up for London session, price was shifting above this high. Again, had another tiny entry in here of this guy. Risk reward wasn't as amazing, but it's fine. Stops below the low, same target. So a first one was a 7.5, and then the second one was a 4.7. So just around like 12 times my risk in the space of 3 days, which is not bad. Following that, price had obviously came up, hit their targets. Now I was already expecting excuse me, price to run into this hourly time frame, but I am not taking shorts directly from this zone because I don't like this high or these highs are resting in here. And I do maybe think that we could pull back and then buy, and I am going to be targeting this major high here. I do think we could maybe pull back down, and I do think we could go short, yes. But I do think there's going to be a lot of people with their stops just above this high. We do have some slight imbalance within that zone, so I do think price could maybe just have a little bit more of a buy one more time, or a little bit more of a run to then actually push this a little bit higher. 4 hour filled, tested. Don't really need to accomplish too much rest in here. Again, what do we do down here? Did we came in and filled? We tested. We came in and tested something. Okay, cool. What do we have? We have all of this Asian supply. That Asian supply is the wick that tested and filled this 4 hourly. So for me and for my understanding, this zone is now valid for potential shorts if given the correct confirmation. For me, it has. Break of structure, we can just use a simple fib. Simple fib. Fibs lining up with my zone of interest and target, and my secondary fibs are lining up with my areas of interest, which again is nice to see. Now, we can be looking for a couple things and a couple zones in and off here. We have this little guy in here, and we also do have this guy in here. Now, would I potentially be taking 2 different orders? Maybe so. What we could maybe do is, this is off the hourly. How many pips is that? If that seems like quite a lot. Okay, so about 15 pips. So what we could maybe do is 0.5% risk at the open, and then potentially other 0.5% risk at the 50. So unfortunately, the risk to reward on this isn't probably going to be that great, but it's fine. Stop loss is below the low, and I'm going to be targeting this high up here. We do have, let's have a look what price could react from. Okay, cool. So we could maybe even just react straight from here and look down into the shorts. I'm not going to force anything though. If it does play out, that'd be nice. What do we got? Okay, cool. So we have this whole kind of area region in here. Shorts. Shorts, maybe off this zone, and just back down into here for us to then maybe potentially long. What I am seeing is we have Asian impulse, then going into the back of Asian kind of finishing, going into London. That's then when we have this correction. So we have impulse, correction, and this is nothing more than just a distribution. All we're doing is just manipulating the highs to then actually have that sell to buy. And that's what I do want to see. I want to see London or tomorrow Asian potentially, hopefully looking for quite an active day, considering there was news for the past couple of days, not news, sorry, international holidays for the past couple of days. So maybe potential shorts back down into this region is going to be what I do want to see. But what we can do, if we are maybe going to push higher and maybe back up into this area of imbalance within here, that means we could make our risk to reward on this trade a little bit more. So that's now a 1 to 5. So that's looking nice. So really nice potential zone that we can be looking for longs just to carry this up. CAD Swiss, I don't really trade this pair that much, but I wanted to just trade something a little bit more different, a little bit more exotic that I don't really trade. But there was been some quite nice setups on this so far. So let's go through it. Oh, excuse me. So had the buys of this original point. We came up after buys in the original point. We came up, and then going into Friday closure, you can see London open. Oh no, this is Friday. Sorry. Where are we? Friday. Okay, cool. So Thursday we had the big buys going into London. Price came all the way up, and I was paying attention to this zone. More so kind of just off of this straight wick. Why was I looking off this wick? Because we had mitigated everything kind of all within here. Let's go off, where are we? Yeah, so price had mitigated of everything in here. This is our shift of momentum. We broke, or we just invalidated the small point of supply in here, which actually mitigated. You can see we pushed up, we broke structure. We invalidated this zone. Now you can see price then tested the supply, price tested the supply, and then we did actually break down lower. So Thursday entries in New York session, really, really nice, literally pinged it, and then we came all the way up higher. Now London, I did actually close out this position. I think it was in and around like 600-900-ish. Reasons for that is because we had a lot of this area of imbalance down here, and we'd shifted a lot of momentums. So I was potentially thinking that we were going to come down, test and mitigate, and then actually go higher anyway, which is what usually happens, or what we usually look for anyway. So taking my position out here wasn't actually a bad idea. As you can see, it did kind of fall back down. So close off my position here around like here. Price came in, and going into New York session, we literally just dumped. I was looking for a short off of this zone, and I was looking for off of this imbalance, but we just missed it. We came back down. That's fine. Second entries did actually push. Got the entry, came up in Friday closure, and then we headed all the way back down into this last 30-minute move in here. From that 30-minute move, you can see going into the beginning of the week, Monday, price came down, we tested. Asian session, we came down, swept the low. Going into the end of Asia, going into the beginning of London, we had an hourly imbalance here. We tested it, and then we pushed and kicked, and then we came up into this point. So I had a buy in here, and I did actually close half of my position out here. Excuse me. After we had this, we did have another 30-minute zone, which I was looking for. So you can see this is my second entry in here, which I've got running still. I did manage to get another smaller entry with a better risk to reward after going into London. The London showed me that it was kind of looking like it wanted to kind of push a little bit higher. So we had that push with my original entry in. Price came all the way back down, but I was still looking at this Asian low. I didn't really like this that much. And I also didn't really like too much this low as well, because this happened literally just when the market closed. So this would have taken a lot of people out. Everyone in the Asian session probably would have had their stops below that low. London, we had that kind of type 2 manipulation. We have that run. You can see we ran this low. And then from the London going into the New York, we then had that shift and that break of structure, or that shift of momentum. Now, again, just looking for price to come back down anywhere kind of in around here, or maybe a bit higher, to then push up. I did want to see if price was gonna come down and test this 30-minute zone in here. Just because we haven't yet doesn't mean we won't. We could very much well have another massive run to then go higher. That'd be a bit annoying, but sometimes it is what it is. Or what we could do is just fill the rest of this imbalance off in here, and then maybe start pushing a little bit higher. Now, there are higher time frame targets on this. Obviously, daily, I'm looking for potentially 6,600 area to get met. Weekly zone is going to be this imbalance zone, but do having the understanding that we could actually just come back down. On the 4-hour, my targets are only just up into this high, just to see if we could maybe get one more run, and then maybe start heading back down, maybe into these zones off here. Equally now, if we do just like break lower, then that's fine. It is what it is. The entry that I do have here, I've got running a risk-free, and I'm gonna just leave my original trade in, with the stop still running it open, just to see if price does want to manipulate a little bit lower, and then we actually get kind of like that big push up. I know Friday is NFP, so that could be a busy one. So let's kind of see what happens. But this is CAD Swiss looking for further potential upside movements. Excuse me. Second trade is gold. Gold, really, really, really nice trade on this. And there are a couple of people that are still holding. So my original buy stop loss was quite wide. My targets are up here. Actually, no. So gold, I actually could maybe see a run back up, possibly into 2K or higher. Now we have our 3-day, we have this zone down here, which I am looking for, and we very much well could push a little bit deeper into here. But on the daily, well, excuse me, on the 4-hourly, apologies, on the 4-hour, we did have this really, really nice zone, which is our last point of contact before price kind of really pumped. Again, test entry, and now I'm just looking for maybe, well, potentially 1950 to get run, or maybe higher back up into some of these levels. So I maybe do want to see 2K flat, 2K flat get met. That's going to be overall kind of primarily our target. Daily, you can see we did have some sort of nice reaction from here. Hourly, we've actually been testing the daily imbalances. So I do want to see if we could actually get another run, because for me, I'm kind of seeing this as a build up, a build up of liquidity within here. And I do want to see if we either could run to sell to buy, maybe back down into this zone a little bit more, or if we are going to push and continue a lot higher from here. That's going to be the biggest question. Now, I did, once I had my original buy on this higher time frame one, I then did manage to get another entry down in here, which was really, 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 really nice. The risk to reward was insane. So let's just delete that off for a second. So once we came into here, we'd actually came in, and this line is the 50%. So we came in and tested that 50% 4-hour overall high time frame. You can see this line here. This then got hit. And once that then got hit, I noticed this tiny accumulation. What is an accumulation? It's a manipulation of the lows. This is our manipulation, and a breaker structure to the upside. Well, this is our shift to the upside here. So this was literally nothing more than looking for the test of area that caused that long. If you guys don't believe me, I actually do have I have proof of this entry. Entry from here, and still running my targets. All the way at least up into this high. And what's that? A 1 to 56. Now obviously I didn't put my full risk on the cards on this on this trade, but I'm still making 56 times my risk, whatever my risk was. So here, really, really nice to see. What I am going to do now is I'm just going to follow everything. So again, if we have that 4-hour, I'm taking the whole body from this body open to the, so just measuring this whole body, you can see 50% of that. This is that sell move to buy. Scaling that in, you can then see again, what do we have? Our sell to buy, mitigation, continuation. So maybe now looking forward to seeing if we do want to have one more run, take out this low, and then we actually start pushing a little bit higher. That might be a little bit big ask, but I do just have orders there, just to maybe see what happens. Maybe going into NFP, we could have some crazy movements. I don't know. So that's gold. Silver, same kind of scenario. I'm still looking for the longs on silver. I do still want to see if high time frame we can just get a bit of a retracement. You can see this is our breaker structure, looking for a pullback, and then shorts. High time frame looking for this weekly level around 21.300 to get met. But what I'm waiting for, like I said, I am just waiting for these pullbacks. Even if on the weekly we kind of get a weekly just fill into this imbalance, just that tiny little weekly imbalance is going to be massive profits for us. So what am I looking at? We had just a run of all of these lows, and it was on a, what was it, on a 5-minute or a 1 minute? I think it was on a 5-minute. Yeah, on a Or was it on a 3-minute? Actually, I think it was on a 3-minute. Yeah. So once we had that test, we then had this nice little 3-minute move. And then you can see we came in and tested all within this zone, and then we shifted and manipulated this small supply in here. So now I'm just looking for the pullbacks into this zone. So now you can see 4 hourly. We have this imbalance in here. I do want to see. We have this imbalance in here. Yes, price did come down close. We didn't come and test all of it. So now this is why I do want to see if we can have a run of this wick and then that continuation higher. My targets are only going to be to this weekly low, but still with the understanding that we could actually maybe push a little bit higher into like 23.90, maybe 23.80, maybe in and around those zones. Overall high time from objective bearish, but I am looking for the counter trend just up into those areas. So if you guys got any questions about those, please let me know. Feel free to fire away and I will help everyone as much as I can. If we do get any more updates, I will let everyone know. But until then, this is kind of what I am just looking at. So yeah, like I said, if you guys have got any questions, please let me know and feel free to fire away. All right, guys.